Opens 3 weeks after a global catastrophe has eliminated every organism with a Y chromosome. Only 2 beings have mysteriously survived. They are a guy named Yorick Brown and his pet male monkey, Ampersand. A montage of scenes from around the globe shows streets littered with dead bodies and memorials honoring those that have died in the catastrophe. In the present day, Yorick spray paints a message on the walls of this city. Beth, I'm alive. Come home. It is a message for his lover, with whom he was almost engaged before the global disaster. As he is engrossed in this activity, a crashed helicopter suddenly falls towards Ampersand, but Yorick manages to save his pet in the nick of time. In a flashback to before the catastrophe, Yorick practices an upside-down escape maneuver from a straitjacket while a young student watches. Seconds later, the landlord of his apartment knocks at the door, demanding for the overdue rent. When Yorick does not reply, the landlord calls his mother, Congresswoman Jennifer Brown, who is currently in Washington, D.C. Elsewhere, in Brooklyn, Yorick's sister Hero walks out of a support group and meets her brother outside. He intends to propose to his girlfriend Beth later that night and asks to borrow some money for fancy food. Although Hero tries to discourage him from this plan, she reluctantly gives him some cash. Minutes later, Hero's transgender friend Sam pops outside from the meeting and talks to her. It is revealed that she has been attending the support group because of a DUI case, but has missed a lot of the meetings. In Skiatook, Oklahoma, a mysterious government agent named Agent 355 builds a bomb for her boyfriend, who is clueless about her real identity. In turn, the boyfriend is preparing to sell it to a group of domestic terrorists. He makes her wait in the other room because he believes that the terrorists wouldn't want a black girl building their explosive device. But the woman sneaks out through the window and walks through the neighborhood. Only a few meters away, she uses her cell phone to set off the bomb, killing both the boyfriend and his customers. The agent then continues running through the countryside and sees the lifeless bodies of 2 deer. Soon afterwards, she gets picked up in a black car by another agent, Agent 1033. He offers her a letter embedded with the stamp of the President of the U.S. It contains her new mission, and Agent 1033 says that the life of the President is under threat. At the farmhouse of President Ted Cunningham, his press secretary Nora receives worrying news. She goes into damage control after she hears that Congresswoman Brown called the president a misogynist on television. However, the president is not worried about the issue, and even makes Nora fire a gun at a target. That night, at a gala birthday party for the First Lady Marla, Congresswoman Brown is summoned to a meeting with the president. There, the two discuss the explosion in Oklahoma, and the president offers to work together with her, but she rebukes him for being a shrewd politician. In New York City, Hero talks with her coworker Mike in the back of an ambulance. Turns out that the two have been dating, despite Mike being married to another woman. However, he reveals that he's told his significant other about his affair. That evening, at his apartment, Yorick prepares a grilled cheese dinner for Beth, who complains about her day at graduate school. He tells her that he wants to come with her to Australia, but she quickly refutes the idea. She says he should stay in the US and work on his magic show. Shortly afterwards, he brings out a ring box, and Beth is taken aback as he gets down on one knee. But she rejects his proposal, saying Yorick will hold her back from meeting people. This causes an argument between the two, and she ends up storming out of the apartment. Let's see Yorick Houdini his way out of this shit. Back in Oklahoma, Agent 355 prepares for the next mission. In her apartment, she opens the letter that she received earlier from Agent 1033. It reads that for her new mission, she will be disguised as a Secret Service agent named Sarah Bergen and will be deployed to the Pentagon. Meanwhile, at the dinner party, Congresswoman Brown reconnects with her estranged husband. They discuss Yorick's financial situation, then talk about the possibility of reconciling. Although her husband is ready to put aside their differences until the midterm elections, he sounds reluctant to carry on their relationship. He says he loves her, but proclaims that it is time, hinting at a divorce. Back inside, the president gives a speech for his wife's birthday, as Brown watches disapprovingly from across the room. On the other hand, press secretary Nora arrives home to her messy apartment. Her husband tries to kiss her, but she rudely avoids it. They then hear one of their children scream from the other room, so the husband leaves to take care of the issue. In the meantime, Hero and her coworker boyfriend lie in the back of the ambulance and talk about their future. He soon goes outside to pee, leaving her alone. Unbeknownst to them, a stray dog approaches the ambulance and starts vomiting blood. When Mike returns, he finds that Hero has discovered texts from his wife, proving his story to be a lie. This ensues a fight between them, and Hero ends up throwing a small oxygen tank at Mike, severing his jugular artery. That's good irony. The next morning, Agent 355 arrives at the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia. She manages to infiltrate inside using her fake identity and takes a post in a briefing room where Congresswoman Brown is also present. The scenes then quickly shift between Nora and Hero's current situation. At home, Nora prepares lunches for her children while at the ambulance. Hero's married boyfriend lies dead at her feet, covered in blood. Suddenly, a police officer shows up and starts banging on the door. When Hero exits the ambulance, she is shocked to find the cop dead on the ground. The stray dog from earlier has also mysteriously collapsed. Back at the Pentagon briefing room, the president says there's a distress call out of Israel, but before he can expound further, his nose starts bleeding profusely and he drops to the floor. Suddenly, all the men all over the globe begin dying mysterious and bloody deaths. Nora also discovers her husband and sons dead in their beds. Panic quickly grips the streets as everyone begins to realize what's happening. A young girl watches the chaos from a crashed car as her father lies dead in the driver's seat next to her. Meanwhile, Yorick is at his apartment peacefully sleeping on the couch. He wakes up unharmed when his pet monkey throws food at him. Yorick tries to use the phone, but it doesn't have any signal. Suddenly, he hears screams and explosions coming from outside, which terrifies him. In the bunker, Agent 355 starts guarding Congresswoman Brown after all the men around them have dropped dead. Everyone puts on gas masks in a panic, while the agent ducks into a bathroom to catch her breath. There, she takes out a ring-like device from the lining of her blazer and sees that it is still beeping. This means that her mission is still active and that she should carry on with her duty. Thus, she slips back the device and heads out. Fast forward to the 8th day after all the men around the globe suddenly died. Agent 355 is in a snowy suburb, visiting what appears to be a postal outlet. However, once inside, she uses a key to open a secret door and enters a back room. It is revealed that this is the base of a covert organization that Agent 355 works for. Just like everywhere else in the world, all the men working for the organization are dead. She moves 3 dead male bodies to the floor and uses the radio to call other stations without any success. Following this, she searches the nearby shelves and finally finds a cardboard box addressed to her. She takes out a series of personal items, including a necklace that she puts on and an envelope that reads, "Not yet." Inside is a piece of paper with an address written on it. The scene then abruptly shifts back to Pentagon on the day when all the men mysteriously died. Congresswoman Brown has been named president as the surviving female staff members watch the fence around the White House being overrun by protesters through a large screen. Agent 355 then approaches President Brown and explains that she is the member of a covert task force and not really in the Secret Service. She says that there was a credible threat against the president, but she doesn't know what it was as she hasn't been briefed about it yet. She also introduces herself as Sarah Bergen, although the new president realizes it's not her real name. Soon enough, the White House gets overtaken by rioters, and everyone else in the bunker starts to freak out, but President Brown quickly calms the female government officials by giving a rousing speech. We're then taken to day 62 after the mysterious event that killed all the men in the world. The only survivor, Yorick, is getting ready to go outside with his pet monkey Ampersand. Why is he the only man who survived? Perhaps it's because he's fucking that monkey. He puts on a gas mask and the monkey goes into a holding crate. The scene shifts back to the Pentagon war room on the day of the catastrophe, where a few officials brief President Brown on the status of the nationwide electrical grid. They talk about evacuating New York City, and Agent 355 tells Brown that it's possible her daughter got out before things got really bad. After ordering the agent to find her daughter, the president addresses the nation through the radio. Her speech is being heard in a rescue center where refugees have gathered, including Hero. A bunch of transgender survivors are also present, including her friend Sam. Back at the White House, Agent 355 hitches a ride on a military helicopter in order to hunt for Hero. Meanwhile, Yorick breaks into another building looking for his girlfriend Beth and spray paints more messages on the walls. She did reject him, but now he's literally the last man on Earth. So, he might have a shot. While he's doing this, Ampersand suddenly runs away and scurries down a flooded subway tunnel. This forces Yorick to follow his pet into the disgusting water, where he has to make his way past several dead bodies. But his attempts are fruitless as Ampersand is nowhere to be found. After a while, Yorick reaches a dry cleaner's shop and strips off his wet clothes to get some fresh ones. But just then, the owners of the store confront him and ask why he didn't die in the catastrophe. They pull a gun on him and say they can trade him for a essential goods. Fearing for his life, Yorick breaks down in tears, prompting the women to take pity on him and give him a set of fresh clothes. He leaves a small Snickers bar on the counter as payment and product placement before leaving with the clothes. Once back in the subway station, Yorick watches a video of Beth on his phone. This makes him really emotional, and he almost cries again. What a bitch. Suddenly, Ampersand shows up out of nowhere and the two friends reunite. They then go to Hero's apartment, but it's empty, leaving Yorick disheartened. Wonder if he's gonna cry. In the meantime, Hero returns to her friend's base of operations, only to find a devastated Sam. It is revealed that everyone else ditched them and ran away with all the supplies. Sam fumes about the fact that, as a transgender man, he now has to face all the same questions and provide all the same answers about his identity that he did in the past. He only has a 2-week supply of testosterone left, and he pleads with Hero to get in touch with her mom. Seeing her only remaining friend in such turmoil, she relents and agrees. At the Pentagon, the former First Lady Marla visits President Brown with alcohol. She wants to return home to Lynchburg to bury her son, but Brown laments that she can't spare any more Secret Service officials for that trip right now. The two women then have a brief conversation about motherhood. Marla talks about how when she was pregnant, she had all sorts of fears about having a daughter. In response, Brown admits that she sent someone to try and retrieve Hero from New York. To her surprise, Marla doesn't berate her for using the Secret Service agent for her personal work. Instead, the former First Lady says if she were in her shoes, she would have sent the whole army to look for her daughter. At Hero's apartment, Yorick gets spooked by a noise, which turns out to be Agent 355 looking for Hero. He tries to run away, but the agent easily overpowers him. The scene quickly cuts as the military helicopter arrives back at the Pentagon with Sarah and Yorick. There, the youngster is reunited with his mother, and they cry together in happiness.